Hi everyone, it's Penny here. How are you? Or Penelope or PJ, whatever you know me as. Peace and love to you forever and ever. Hey, I've just been reading, watching something on telly and surfing at the same time. And this is something that actually sits really deeply with me, and it's about labeling and just totally being who you are. Now, as you perhaps would have seen, I've just recently posted some workshop sessions that I'm actually doing here in Adelaide, some face-to-face ones, with another fantastic business owner whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Anyway, something spoke to me that I wanted to come in and talk about, and because of the various people that I support, some have been through domestic violence, which of course is the main reason why Penelope J was born, because of my own story of violence and control and coercion and some challenging mountains to go through. Anyway, I haven't thought of properly what I wanted to say. There was just something that was speaking to me that I've come on this evening. It's night time here in Australia. So on the eve of releasing these face-to-face group sessions and my much awaited for online courses, which are actually a culmination of my face-to-face and my current semi-online courses. And in the wake of, I guess, a few years of turmoil and finding my own place back in the world, supporting more and more people every single day who may be either my age group, which is early 50s, older, younger, with what direction to take in life. And I just find it really interesting that the faster paced life becomes, so many more of us are losing direction. And it's almost like we hit this milestone age, whatever it may be. I think it can happen at any time, that we feel lost and we feel unaccomplished, and some days perhaps it's pretty worthless, when in fact, look how beautiful we all are. Look how different and unique, and look at all the gifts that we have to give one another. Yes, it all starts in here, and the love and the connection and what I call my home base, it all begins in here. But do you know what it's like when you come together, a collaborative connection of you and me doing something together and embracing our differences, embracing our ideas, embracing the beauty of what we all offer in this world. Now, growing up, for me was quite interesting. I grew up in a divorced family, and back then I think my parents were kind of the first ones to become divorced sort of in that era. I'm really lucky. They had a great divorce. They always remained friends, which I now that I have my own life and my own situation didn't end up amicable, but I'm very grateful for my mum and dad's situation being as such. But there were many times during my childhood that I actually felt unworthy. And I don't like saying this because I know that I'm not, but I felt stupid and I felt inadequate. But then, not even deep inside, but just below the surface, I knew who I was, and I actually knew what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. I didn't initially do that, and I mean career-wise, but I went and travelled. I saved, $10,000 in a year, worked 2 jobs, and off I went with a backpack at 22, and had all intentions of coming back a year later, and 2 years later I came back. Which doesn't surprise me because I'm so social. I have such a love of people and culture and languages, and that I'm surprised I probably didn't stay away longer to start with. If you read my story, you will actually see that I spent many years after that living in Johannesburg in South Africa. Anyway, I think that the core of what was speaking to me tonight to come on is, and yes, this video is going to be a bit of a lengthy one, so if you've got the time, I would love you to sit back and have a listen. It's about really living true to who you are and believing in yourself, that you are a good person, that you do have so many amazing gifts to give. And one of the most important things to remember is we all make mistakes. We don't have that crystal ball. Wish we did. It would have saved me a lot of heartache and probably a negative mindset that used to come upon me a lot. But you also don't know what's going to happen if you don't give it a go and you don't try. So as much it would be great to have that look into the future, what I've found really helpful during my own personal development journey is, and I was actually talking to a lady about it today when we had a meeting, was before life gets hold of you and some challenges come into play, but I mean some really serious challenges. A lot of us are like led by our heart, followed closely by our head, and often the gut, the belly is left behind. And then once life does start waking up for us, all 3 components can become a bit mixed up. So I started, because this started hurting with certain experiences that I was putting myself in with life, by living. I then was guided by this, and I didn't even think about leading with my gut. Now, I'm actually a very intuitive person, and I forgot that I was, because life took over and life became very hazy. It became not fun, blurry. I was pretending I was happy, and I was just existing. And as you may have read or heard me say before, I had already died on the inside, and I think I was just waiting for the outside to follow suit. Anyway, the discussion today was really quite an interesting chat with this lady. So she's a little bit younger than me, but similar age. We now go with our gut, and then here and then here. And I don't think that's being harsh or hard or I just think it's to listen to your gut. It seems to win over this and this. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. But it was a really interesting chat. And for me, that's part of me retaining who Penelope Hall is by following my gut instincts, using my intuition again, and not overthinking, over-processing. Now, these are all the things that I actually teach in my courses. So whether you do a face-to-face or combination face-to-face online intensive with me, which runs at a minimum 6-month course, and we can do 12 months and beyond, but it's a minimum 6 month. Or whether you just do a 6-week online, or whether you do the 90-day online as well. We touch on all of this, and I'm so big on finding that congruency and that alignment within ourselves, that it's just that peace, and decision making becomes easier. Your friendships become easier. Loving you is not even a question anymore, and your outlook is fresh and easygoing. Things are going to still happen because you know what? We're all still breathing, so life is happening. We can learn to manage them better than what we had been doing in the past. For me, I would fall down, and I still cry sometimes. I have triggers that set me off, but it's managing them and managing the stress that it brings to my body, to my mind, to my heart, to my gut. So the bottom line is, if we can all come to that central location where we can feel peace in here, retain who we are, the core of who we are, live by our values, because that's the push-pull. If you're not living by your values, you're being pulled, you're being pushed. There is something inside us that is this innate, uncontrollable feeling of, I want to do that because that feels right. I don't want to do that because that doesn't feel right. That's your values mixing around inside you. And that's what causes the conflict, and then the opposite of that, the happiness. Be you, be you, be you. And I'll make you a deal. If you're you, I'll be me. 100% of our day, I will be me, you be you. If I make a mistake, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can, and you're doing the best you can with what you have, with what you know. If you don't know it, go and learn it. If you're not feeling it, look outside the square. Peek through the clouds. Sit back and listen. What's it feeling like in here? Is there turmoil around? What can you change? What don't you have to change? Life is here for us. We wouldn't be here in this form if it wasn't. God, I was feeling so passionate. I've had a really big couple of weeks. Some awesome highs and some couple of lows that really just flattened me. You're doing all right. You're doing okay. You have people behind you, in front of you, beside of you. Be you. Do we have a deal? Shake. Do we have a deal? You're you, I'm me. The right people will love you. The right people will understand. They won't judge. But be open. Be open to feedback. Be open to giving and receiving. We don't have the book of rules, life rules. We have other books that we can learn from. You should see the amount of books that I have there. I think that's all I wanted to say. It is a long video. Sometimes you just got to say what you got to say. So if you've got to the end, I thank you. I love you. I love me. I'm doing the best I can. And you are too. Peace and love. Take it easy. Peace out. You'll be alright. I promise you will be okay. I promised. And I'm alright. I'm okay.